What's up? What's up? It's your boy Abebe Lewis, man, and this is my new podcast, Sweat Equity. You know, watching all these podcasts that I got coming, you're gonna understand what sweat equity is. But I got my good friend and a guest, a businessman, entrepreneur. This guy does it all, man, and I want you guys to really soak up what he says because he's a hustler, good guy, hard worker, and you know the people I put on here, I want you guys to listen. These people are the real people that are really doing the thing, as they say, you know? So go ahead, my brother. Introduce yourself.
Blessings, Abebe. Thanks for having me. It's a privilege to be at Circle House and, you know, rocking with the bad boys, our reggae family. You know, it's an honor and pleasure, you know?
Definitely.
So, yeah, basically, I'm Andrew McKinley. I am from Golden Krust in Palmetto Bay. You know, we recently started to delve into the restaurant business.
Okay.
I'm a businessman, so whatever makes money makes sense for me.
Yeah.
But what's really important with this particular business is that we get to hold up two of the biggest pillars of our culture, which are food and music.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm equally passionate about those things, right? So whenever you're passionate and driven by something that you can cling to, it makes it that much more special.
Definitely.
We're getting to build our culture, brand Jamaica, our music and our food. And that's an honor for me.
Yeah. We were just speaking about that a second ago about how culture and money and music and food and all that just work hand in hand. And you see it as things grow. Like you see certain musics growing, then you watch their food grow. Then you watch their thing, like with the Afrobeat and African music. I'm learning about what the jollof, you put it with the thing, and like that's all with the music. That followed through. You know, even though it was always there and it was always a great culture, but the music just raised it up to make more people understand it and want to go to one of those restaurants just to experience that. And while they're going, they're in the car listening to that music or that song here's the guy Spotify rising. On top of his Spotify rising, now his food, his culture is being sold. Now they want a shirt like this. Now they want to go to the concert. Now they become super fans. So then they tell their kids, and then it just turns into a
flywheel.
Definitely. So let's dive right into it, man. Like the restaurant business. Mm-hmm. When I say that word, are you smiling?
Smiling and crying at the same time. It's a tough business. Man.
Okay. Yeah, I know. It's really good. And you do very, very well with it. And having such a big brand associated with you, does it help, or does it what do you tell me about it?
Yeah, so both sides, right? So a lot of people think because you have a Golden Krust,
mm-hmm.
like your bread is butter.
Yeah. But
we still can't forget that we're still a mom and pop type business.
Mm-hmm.
We're backed by a massive brand.
Yeah.
The slogan is on your own but not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't phrase it better, right? Because they give you, of course, the power of a brand that has been built
mm-hmm.
by the late Lowell Hawthorne and his family, the Hawthorne family. Big up to their family because they're the originators of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had other people that came in and poured into it, like the first franchisees, Earl Chains and Kevin Lee's, etc. That helped to build on that brand, right? But you know, one should not forget that once you get into that business and you're a franchisee, you still have to put that hustle in. You're in charge of that business. If you don't run it properly, Golden Krust can't bail you out.
Yeah.
Right? So you get that learning curve sort of out the way, not completely out the way, but sort of out the way in terms of brand recognition and things like that. Mm. But then there's that added pressure to deliver on what Golden Krust stands for.
100%.
Right? Because they know there are other franchisees out there, other people going to other franchisees out there, mm-hmm. and they're comparing products.
Yeah.
And that's why that pressure is on each of us. Hey, we can't let the brand down.
Standard.
Yeah. Because if somebody, and that's something that we're still working on. It's a work in progress, trying to get that standard and uniformity across the board. But there's that pressure there to say, hey, we need to deliver every single day. Not some days, every single day. We have to execute well so that we keep that brand standard high.
When you are making your menu, right? Like what goes into the thought process of what you're going to do? Is it the traditional stuff and you try to like remix things and just try to add something new? But like, how do you do your menu? What do you?
Very simple. Customer centricity.
Okay.
That is at the heart of it. We produce on that line what the customers want.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there are some things that we introduced and we tested.
Yeah.
And we got learnings from it, and we say, hey, maybe the customer didn't know they would like this, but we introduced it and they love it, right? Like the jerk chicken pasta, things like that, like fusion type things. Yeah. We did in Miami. We launched because there is a huge barbecue scene down there. We started to do jerk barbecue baby back ribs.
Wow.
Yeah, sticky, spicy, savory. Yeah. And people love it, right? So we have to kind of approach it from both angles where we say, hey, we give the customers what they want. We're customer driven. Yeah. So again, that customer centricity, but we also introduce things and we test and learn, right? So we introduce a product to them and then we launch it and we watch it. We don't give up right away, right? We kind of watch it over time. And then if it catches on and we see some traction from it, then we run with it. We pump more marketing into it. Then we spread it from one store up to, like, for example, the jerk barbecue baby back ribs. It moved from our tiny store in Palmetto Bay, went all the way to Atlanta, up north, etc. So, yeah, so it's things like that. You don't have to, and that's a thing I want to put out there for even small businesses. We call our business, the nickname is the Small Axe, right? It's Ilikaboti Talawa. And not because your business is small, you can't make a big impact.
Yeah, of course.
It's your mind, it's your vision, it's where you want to take it. And people will feel that energy. Yeah. Your customers, your partners, every stakeholder will feel you and see where you're coming from and believe in you. But you have to believe in that vision from day one.
Yeah, I hear the passion of the restaurant in your voice right there. You hear that, you feel it. You know what I'm saying? So what's like a downfall? Like making too much food, making
Yeah, I wouldn't say really it's a challenge that we face. Okay. We face day in, day out.
Yeah.
You don't want to overproduce, you don't want to underproduce. It's that optimal level of production, right? And that's where we work very closely with our kitchen staff. Like my chef hears from me like a million times a day, right? Hey, what's being produced? We have check-ins of how many pounds of this we're producing, etc. So we try not to waste food, right? We don't want to reheat things. We don't want to put out stale food. So we have to put out what we need for that given day, because if we don't, and we overproduce, we have to dump that. Like patties, for example, we'll never put or reheat a patty. The moment that day passes and the patty is done, we toss it out. So we want to be mindful of that when we're producing. At the same time, we don't want to underproduce. And then, you see all these things on Instagram and social media saying people walk into a restaurant, particularly Jamaican restaurants, and they're like, hey, give me an oxtail.
Yeah, no, attitude.
No more oxtail,
Yeah.
All right, give me the brown stew. No, we don't have that neither,
Yeah.
We don't subscribe to that. And nor do we subscribe to the notion out there that you walk into a Caribbean restaurant or a Jamaican restaurant and how you know it good is when you get peer attitude. We believe in both. We want a good, solid product, and we also want that customer service, because again, we were talking about it from day one, you and I, right?
Yeah.
The mission is like reggae music. We're trying to get this across all corners of the earth. Every single corner, we want to plaster our food, want to plaster the music, want people feel that energy and feel that vibe, taste that food. And in order for us to do that, we need to level up our customer service, right? Just like people saying, hey, how this person don't get a Grammy or how this, we have to level up the game, right? The people that are consuming it, we have to keep them in mind. Again, that customer centricity boils down back to that listener, that consumer of the food. How can we cater to them? Yes, they want good food, but when you're starting to get into other cultures and other groups of people that are interested in the food, they're not going to come there and wait until you get that patty out.
Yeah.
You need to have that patty ready
because they're used to a standard.
Absolutely.
So if you're trying to introduce them to something new,
absolutely. And if you want
Hold up. I got some questions. Yep. So we here, man, I'm here with my boy, Andrew. Andrew, have you faced any difficulties opening a Caribbean restaurant here in the United States? Like a US market, like some type of, anything?
Yeah, particularly, and I can speak on behalf of many restaurant owners. They can attest to this, particularly from day one with permitting.
Oh,
That's a huge. I ran into you at the city.
Yeah, grease trap. I always hear that. Like, I'm not a restaurant owner, but one thing I hear, the word I hear the most is grease trap. That must be what? Explain that to me.
Oh my
grease trap.
goodness! So the grease trap basically is, as its name suggests, it prevents grease from getting into the overall water system and the sewage system, right? It kind of strains it out almost, but it's mandatory that you have a grease trap. So
if you're selling food, or if you're
selling food, and particularly depending on the amount of grease that you're using, equipment, etc., fryers, etc., then they'll mandate that you have to have this, measurement of a grease trap. And engineers go behind that and calculate, like, all right, what size does it need to be? The piping, all of that. So you don't damage the environment, essentially, right? The department is Durham, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get you too much trouble with the permit, Andrew. You know how they are.
Yeah.
But what are your views, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and all those brands? What you think is that good for restaurants?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's not even a second guess.
Okay.
Right? And I'll explain why. These are third-party delivery companies, right? But not only that. So there are two parts of it for those companies, right? There's a transactional piece, which is, hey, I'm selling my food on there. They get their cut. I get my cut, right? That's one piece, which is good. But the magical piece that people negate is the marketing piece.
Yeah.
You are discoverable on a massive platform. That's all they do.
Yeah.
That's all Uber Eats does, right?
I got an Uber Eats order now.
That's it. So when you go to Uber Eats or you go to DoorDash, you're not competing with people buying socks or people buying shoes. They go there for food, man.
Yeah.
So if you're able to get on a platform like that, then it's more power to you.
Yeah.
You're, again, that discoverability.
Yeah, I always want to know what a restaurant person, the owner, thinks about Uber Eats. Because I hear a lot of different stories, or I go in the restaurant and it's $10, but then when I go on Uber Eats, it's $15. But I can't fault the restaurant because I know it's a lot of fees and different things into that. And I'm also getting the food delivered right to my door.
Correct.
From, Golden Krust to my door,
And again, coming back to the customer, right?
Yeah.
There are customers out there that they're an Uber customer and they'll pay for that convenience. Yeah. And there are other people, traditional people out there that they're like, nah, I want to go in store and buy that. I'm not paying extra fees for that. So you have to know the demographics of where your restaurant is located and understand whether or not it makes sense for you to do that. If you have somewhat of a marketing mind, you'll totally get it. Yeah. If you're not focused on marketing and understanding those concepts, then it's going to seem like I don't want to mess with that, right? But definitely, if you're trying to market your restaurant, I recommend it.
Yeah. I see a lot of things work towards the food court things now they have with you walk into the building, it's like maybe 24 different little restaurants and all that stuff. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think those things work, or some of them work, some of them don't?
Yeah, again, demographics, right? And it will depend on the type of customers coming to your establishment.
Oh, and where is it? And is it a tourist place?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What will work at Broward Mall is not going to work in the design district.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So it's knowing that customer base that you have and catering to what. For me, we're obsessed with our customers, right? We're absolutely obsessed with our customers. Whatever we see they're trending towards, whatever they're asking for, we're constantly taking surveys, paying attention to our reviews, not just to say, hey, we need a 5-star, right? That's great. It's lofty, but the most important thing is discovering things like that where we pick up issues that we can then solve for the customer, right?
Definitely. I feel like there's so many bigger things coming your way, Andrew, man. This restaurant is a good thing, but I just see another level to you I got a good feeling about things, and I just see where you're trying to go with it, and I see you with the Marley Coffee thing too. So explain your connection with Marley Coffee to us.
Yeah, so we when I opened the restaurant, we're looking for coffee to put in there, right? And we said we need something Jamaican. We need like Blue Mountain coffee, something like that, you know, something authentic, something scale up. We in Miami want to kind of provide, because we get a nice mixture of people, right? We get high-end clients, we get, the ordinary Joe, and we want to cater for everybody that comes through that door. And then I met Rohan Marley. At the time, we met him right before the Bob Marley One Love movie premiere. Julian Marley introduced us, and from then we just hit it off. And he and I spoke, and I said I want to carry the coffee, and he said, "Hey, go for it if you can get it set up." And we did it in record time. And he was like, "You're not playing." And I said,
"No, Ro's a businessman.
He's a businessman.
What I'm saying? He's a businessman, and we also honored him for Reggae Month this past February. He deserves it, with all the things he has going on with YG Marley, the beach house, the coffee. And I know he has, University of Miami, football star.
He's a true Rasta entrepreneur.
Yeah. I know what you're trying to say, like everything. You know what I'm saying? So I really tip my hat to Ro and his team.
He's a very, very savvy businessman.
Yeah.
And not only that, he comes from a great place.
Yeah.
And Rohan will tell you, he'll be very upfront with you. If you're doing something that like you, right? You call me and say, "Hey, that hit, that miss," and I love that energy, right? Because you do it in a respectful place, and it comes from a place of love.
Yeah.
And you're looking out for me. I think feedback is a gift.
Yeah.
Right. If you're calling me up and you say, "Hey, that could have been delivered better," or "I don't know if you should have touched that," then that circle is not right for you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, because it allows me to reflect on what I'm doing and be better.
Yeah.
And if you're making me better, and Rohan does that, right?
Yeah, he does.
Iron sharpens iron, and he'll be straight with me and say, "Hey, Andrew, that that really look good."
Yeah.
Or that one, that shot.
Now, we've been in situations where Ro just be like, "Yo, picture," and you're like, Andrew like, "No, it's too big. This is that." Ro, get in the picture, Andrew. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and those pictures go viral, and those things make a big difference, and it's a big thing. But like Jamaican music wise, like who's Andrew's listening to right now? Like Caribbean wise.
Yeah, YG.
YG.
I listen to YG stuff. I listening to Maestro.
Okay.
Kimani Marley.
Definitely.
We were featured. We partnered on that concept for the Love and Energy single.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Yes.
So and he has a song out, New Creature too.
Yeah.
He kept singing it here.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I like.
That's fire. That's fire. That's fire. And we spoke about that when we did an interview with Kimani as well. That song for me is hit the spot for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like self-forgiveness, and like, it's a deep song.
And
like if you listen to it,
it's a different sound.
Yeah, man.
Different.
I hear that good reggae beat in there, but that modern reggae beat.
Yeah.
It's a dope song. And then, of course, Massacre. I love Massacre.
Okay.
I listen to Massacre a lot. So yeah. Popcorn.
Definitely. So, I'm a Jamaican, so I listen, by the way, to the dancehall. I like it. And, I'm more so like the traditional reggae. Your Jacob Miller, your Inner Circle, your Bob Marley, your Gregory Isaacs, and Dennis Brown. Like those records really hit home in the aspect of taking me back to a time when it was just a good time. You know what I'm saying? When, the new stuff, I got to keep up with it in a sense, but I like them because to me, it's like I look at like how the rap music is to the dancehall, and I kind of like, sometimes I compare them, you know what I'm saying? In a sense of the pocket of like a Fabulous or like a Ball Grease. We know the girls like them. So this are the artists like that, the girls like them. Because when it all boils down to it, it's marketing. You know what I'm saying? If you're selling clothing, you're selling this, it's the same appeal that you're looking for that person to purchase your brand. You know what I'm saying? So, you just got to pick that right artist. If it's a camouflage vibes or a disc vibes, or it's a sleeker brand, or, or whatever. So it's just, it's just music, marketing. And that's what this was all about. Everything kind of works hand in hand. So,
and you said vibes too, like mood and vibes.
It does.
And for me, that's like food is the same way, right?
100%.
Like depending on the mood I'm in, I want Jamaican food, or then I want like Cuban food, or I want Italian. So depending on the mood, and I'm the same way with music. Like this Sunday we're driving and we're listening to Sam Cooke. I love Sam Cooke, right? And on a Sunday, that's my vibe. Yeah. I love jazz music. I love, just anything that's like, I'm a huge music fan. So if it sounds good and it hit my ears right, and like for my meds at the time, I'm all about it.
That's why I say Miami, we always have what do you call it? Like a one-up on everybody because it's so authentic. I can go to a Golden Krust and eat authentic Jamaican cuisine and find a Latin restaurant that have a real rice and beans, real thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to the roti spot and go. It's so many different places I can go. But listen, a young entrepreneur wants to open a restaurant, right? And what would you tell him? What would you give him some tips and some points,
The most important thing I would advise somebody on that is just make sure that's what you want to do. Don't go into it because you say, hey, I see this guy and he's making money. A lot of restaurants out there it looks like they're making a lot of money. Yeah. The restaurant business, margins are tight, right? And you have to watch, you have to be present, you have to be diligent about what you're doing, marketing-wise, operationally. So I would say, just like anything that you want to be extremely successful at, you need to make up your mind and determine if that's what you want to do. Yeah. Because even when somebody says you're passionate about something, right? Passion really means to suffer, right? Like the passion of Christ, right? Suffer. Compassion means to suffer with. Yeah. If I have compassion for you, I'm suffering with you, right? So when you say you have passion, don't just use that term loosely. Are you willing to suffer? Yeah. Are you willing to go in 5 o'clock in the morning if something go wrong? Are you willing to be there? Chef sick. Are you willing to midnight be there when you have a big event the next day? Yeah. You can't point your finger and say, oh, it was BB fault. Yeah. It was Michelle fault. It was whoever fault. That's yours. So you have to own it. If you have to be there 3 o'clock in the morning, which we have many times, many times.
And it reflects the greatness of you guys. It just reflects it. Man. Like, even if it's a thing, like a sponsored thing that you sponsor from me, the food is always on point. I've never had one complaint. You've never been late, and I notice things like that. That's why I know your business is going to grow. And man, I just want to say thank you for taking time out today to come and just, vibe with us over here. You know what I'm saying? Andrew, man, you got a big future. And hope Golden Krust don't get mad, but it's going to get bigger than it's big. You know what I'm saying? You're big. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just to understand, you understand the thing. And if people, when I say the thing, the people know, they know. You know what I'm saying? This guy gets the vision of where things need to go and things need to be. Thank you so much.
Respect, my brother. Respect. Blessings, baby.